Welcome to the first episode of Thumbs Down Video Game Reviews, where a thumbs down on this channel is not necessarily a bad thing. Today, I am reviewing the ATARI 2600, the best, worst gaming system ever. I remember when we got the ATARI 2600 when I was 8 years old, and it was the greatest thing ever, besides my vintage Kenner Star Wars toys. I love video games just as much as I love vintage toys. I remember playing all the classics like Space Invaders and Combat, but when Pac-Man came out in 1982, I believe, it was the most exciting thing ever. I remember when we had to pre-order it from Fisher's Big Wheel. Does anyone remember that store? They called us, and I remember going to get it with my dad and sister. We got home, ripped it out of the box, this is not my original box by the way, and plugged it into the ATARI 2600. And I loved it. I did play it in the arcades. The graphics and gameplay were much better, but I don't think it was a bad port on the 2600. Pitfall, of course, was another favorite game of mine. It reminded me of Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. I felt like I was Indy, going on an adventure in the jungle and in underground mines or caves looking for treasures. I was not very good at it, but I do remember getting to the end, and it just stopped, right? Am I right? It was called flipping the game. Flipping has a whole new meaning nowadays. Speaking of Indiana Jones, I remember playing Raiders of the Lost Ark as well. I remember learning from a family friend how to defeat the game. I don't think I would have ever flipped it if he didn't show me how. Zaxxon, Miss Pac-Man were awesome games as well. Jungle Hunt was another favorite game of mine. Timing was everything on the vines, and the water scene was a lot of fun as well. Burger Time, Dragonfire, and River Raid were awesome games as well. I'll do a much more in-depth review of these games in the future, but for some reason I couldn't get them to work on the 2600. Where's my sandpaper?
Please subscribe and hit the like button. And as always, remember, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. Keep on laughing, everyone.